A lot of us get caught up in the trap of just working and hustling and doing what we have to do just to survive, just to pay bills. And truly, that's not how life is supposed to be, man. Like a lot of people, they spend their entire lives without ever finding their true purpose and calling and reason that they actually came here in the first place. Because I personally believe that everybody's spirit, everybody's soul came down here for a specific reason, specific calling. But sometimes we forget. Oftentimes we forget, honestly. I know this firsthand because I was one of those lost souls. I was one of those ones who I knew I had a greater calling for me. I just knew it. But at the same time, I didn't know exactly what that calling was. I didn't know exactly how to reach there. So in that journey, I got lost on the way in the wrong environments, in the wrong spaces, picking up some beliefs that wasn't even my own beliefs. It was other people's beliefs, but because I was around it and surrounded by it and I heard it over and over again, I adopted it essentially. So a lot of us have got caught up in that trap of just taking on society beliefs. You know what I'm saying? Other people's opinions and never really shaped our own opinions for ourselves. We've just really took others' opinions and ran with it. A lot of people haven't really went and figured out, what do I like to do? What makes me happy? A lot of people go to school and college and go into careers because it's what their parents wanted, not because they what they wanted. So my whole point is, how do you find your purpose and your calling? And that's what I want to go over in this video, while also explaining how I found my purpose and how I found my calling, because it all came through life experiences. And I don't like to really go over my story too much in my content, because as you will find out on this channel, like, I'm going to be going into a lot of credit building strategies, a lot of wealth building strategies, a lot of mindset strategies that can actually help you achieve the lifestyle that you want, whatever lifestyle that is. Because me, I want to live a life of abundance. So really, this is going to be a channel for people who are looking to achieve a life abundantly. And that's not even about just financially. It's spiritually abundant, mentally abundant, physically abundant, like just overall. So it's going to be a story about myself as well, because that's how I found my purpose, was through my story and my journey. And I don't want to every video know how people go into their story and their journey. I don't like to really do that. I'll connect my story when it needs be, but for the most part, I like to go straight in and give the value on these videos that I'm going to be dropping. So for anybody who wants to hear my story and my journey, this will be the video. But this also will serve as a double purpose, because it can help you find your purpose, hopefully, by hearing my story, if you don't already know your purpose. So regardless, it'll be some value. So let's go straight into it. Like I said, foundation is the upbringing. Like, that's your foundation. How you were raised as a childhood, the things that you naturally just gravitated towards, that's your foundation, because that's what built me. Like, for my story, it's crazy. Like, even how my mama and my daddy met. Like, my mama from Columbia, South Carolina. My pops, he from Bronx, New York. And they both came down to Atlanta, Georgia for the Freaknik, and out came me. So that is how essentially I was even, conceived by that interaction. So it's crazy how circumstances bring us here. So that's why I say I believe everybody has a purpose, because for all that to go on play to make me, it's crazy to me. But long story short, I was raised by a single mother, because they didn't get married, nothing like that. I don't really have no real memories of us all being a family and nothing like that. So I was raised primarily by my mother. I saw my dad from time to time, every blue moon, but my mama raised me, and I seen her hustle and work and grind and just make everything happen. We wasn't living in the projects. We wasn't rich, but we wasn't dirt poor, lights off. Like, she made it happen. So I seen that in my life. So that instilled in me a certain ambition, a certain hustle, and a certain, independence. Because I seen her not really asking for no handout. She made it happen, for me and for her. So I tried to always make it easy on her by not asking for too much. And I'm an only child as well, So I tried to make it real easy on her as far as not really asking for too much. And she'll tell you herself, like, I was real easy as far as asking for stuff. I was really like, I ain't need too much. You know what I'm saying? But what my issue was, unfortunately, was I was always into something. I had I would say a rebellious spirit. Now that I'm aware of what's going on, I just had a rebellious spirit against the system. For real, was all it was. No, nothing was wrong with me at all. My spirit knew something wasn't right with the system, and something wasn't right with the school system, and how they tried to say, oh, I have ADHD and I'm this and I'm that, I need to be on this medication. And there's nothing wrong with me. And my mama knew the same thing, and I thank God that I had a mother who was able to be like, nah, we ain't putting him on no medication, because we have so many parents out here putting their children on these medications because they're saying your kid has this and has that, when I've studied these things. There's nothing wrong with a child because they have a different learning style. I just had a different learning style, and y'all didn't want me, I couldn't conform to y'all learning style. And so that led me to being in trouble, because now I'm not going with y'all program. So that is what shaped my story, because it instilled in me a certain rebellious spirit. And that kind of led me down the wrong path. So of course, I'm getting in trouble in school, but I'm developing skills as well because I'm an only child. So at this time, I'm getting into music. Around early, man, early in middle school, I'm rapping at this time, teaching myself stuff on, my mama got me a computer and stuff to keep me busy, of course. So ended up getting some cheap microphones and stuff, like nothing major equipment, but stuff that I was able to use. Like, it wasn't great, but at the time I'm a kid, so this little cheap microphone, I got a computer, I got Audacity at the time, a free little mixing program. I'm learning skill sets that I'm not even gonna know later on is going to be what shapes me. This is finding out my purpose and my passion at the same time, but I'm not knowing at the time. So I'm learning these things on the computer, learn how to do graphic design, because now I'm making the music. I want to, of course, drop little mixtapes and stuff on Dat Piff, because Dat Piff was hot at the time. All the big rappers, Lil Wayne and all of them, they was dropping their music on Dat Piff. So I'm like, that's where I want my music. So I don't have no money to pay no videographers, not videographers, video design editors and all that. So I'm like, well, I got YouTube. I was on YouTube a long time ago learning about stuff. Like, I've been on YouTube University since a youngin'. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when I was on YouTube University as a young kid, I learned so much stuff on this YouTube thing, just learning, you know what I'm saying, about different things. I used to always just YouTube things. I know everybody does it now, but I felt like I was kind of been on that. So I'm looking up how to design, how to edit, and all these are skill sets that I still use to this day. I still need to edit. I still have to, you know, use Photoshop and have a eye for design and certain things. So all these things were building me as a child, because like I said, I was the only child. I had to occupy my time with something, and I gravitated towards music and just designing, just creating. So it all molded me. Like I said, I went down the wrong path, because while I'm learning how to do that, I'm also, learning how to do other things as well in the streets, selling drugs and, hanging out with the wrong people. I was never bad per se, but like I said, I was around the wrong people at the times, which is going to ultimately shape what I have going on. So then had a son at a very young age. At 16 years old, had a son. I believe, well, he might have been born when I was 17 at the time, but 16, 17 years old, had a child very young. So now that rap career that I wanted to do, it kind of seemed like a dream. Catch that now. Catch that, because that's a very, very powerful point in the story as well. They will tell us that our passions, they will tell us that what we have an ambition for, what we love doing, is just a dream. To be realistic. Realistically, if I would have stayed with that dream that wasn't realistic, I probably wouldn't have been in prison. I believe I could have made it in music. I believe I could have made it doing whatever I wanted to do. But because the things that I had a passion for, they told me wasn't a reality for me. It wasn't realistic. I had to go to school. It was the options, the programming. This is your option. This is your option. You go to school, you get your degree, or you go to the military. That's your options. And I didn't like those options. So I saw people having things that I wanted to have, nice cars, and doing things going on trips. And, I saw them doing all those things, and they didn't have to go to school or college. But guess what? They was in the streets. They was doing something illegal. They was doing something that wasn't abiding by the law. And unfortunately, I became a product of that, and that's what caught my eye, and I wanted those things. So I started doing those activities to get those things because, like I said, I didn't want to go with the programming. So I don't believe that it was I was never bad. I just was misinformed about the wrong things because I could have been putting that same energy into something positive, of course, but I didn't know. All the things that I was seeing was, hey, they're having money, they're getting money doing this. So that's what I was doing. So the transformation comes in when I hit my darkest point, man. Because we all know it's always the fall when you going in the streets, man. And March 5th, 2020 was my fall because I ended up doing something stupid, man, and going with somebody who I used to call a brother. You know what I'm saying? Somebody I truly used to call a brother, and I went to go, and it's not his fault because I made the decision to go. That's where accountability comes in. Like everything I did in my life, I made the decisions that led me where I am. So another thing that we have to do and realize on this path is take accountability and be aware of all situations, and don't blame nobody but yourself for whatever you're going through, because ultimately you have the say so. You can't control the circumstance, you can't control what's going on, but what you do have control over is how you react and how you respond to any situation. So that's a key point. I want everybody to do as well. So ended up going with him to do something stupid. We got locked up on a attempted robbery. Long story short, got sentenced to 60 months in prison, and that is ultimately it was the moment that was the hardest in my life. Because if you know about March 2020, man, that's when the COVID hit, the pandemic hit. So not only am I locked up, but I'm locked up during COVID. And this, from people who been locked up, they third, fourth bid, they might have been coming to jail 20, 30 years. They're like, boy, this is the hardest time I've ever done. So I know it was definitely that time that I got locked up. It was supposed to be like extra hard on me. Like, hold on, no, you got to wake up because I've been locked up before, but it was always in and out. I never got caught for nothing big. So when I really had to sit and I didn't have no bail, because on federal charges, man, they not really too much giving you no bails for real. So I'm sitting. It ain't no bail and no. So I'm in here. I have to sit down and really figure out, okay, what's going on. And that's when I went through the awakening. And when you go through the awakening, that's when you figure out your true identity. That's when you figure out who you truly are, because it's in those darkest moments. When they say pressure makes diamonds, that's the realest thing ever, because pressure truly does make a diamond. Because when you're going through them hardest moments, it builds you, it molds you into something. And if you use it right, because it's two sides to it. You can let it build you or you can let it break you, because I've seen those situations, same situation. Now we all in prison. I've seen some come out and it transformed them for the greater, and I've seen some and let them break them and just bring them lower and lower and lower. So it's all about your mindset, man. It's all about your perspective and how you're going to see those situations. So ultimately, it's up to you to take control of your life and have the mindset that you need to be successful. Because it was up to me to go in there and study all these things. Like when I say the transformation, first it was a spiritual transformation, because my spirit and soul instantly knew when I hit them, like, man, I ain't supposed to be in here. Like I said, I was doing what I do in the streets, and I've done a lot of things, but I've never been like a robber or a killer or nothing crazy like that, man. I just, I broke the law in order to get money, but I justified it like, man, I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not doing nothing to nobody. So I'm just getting mine at the time, not knowing. It was just me being ignorant. Like I said, I was a lost soul, and I know if you feel me, a lot of us been that. We've been lost souls and been in positions where we had to do things that we necessarily didn't want to do and was against our morals and ethics, in our soul and our spirit. Like we knew that intuition, our spirit, our conscious, whatever you want to call it, we knew it was against that, but we did it anyway, because why? We were in need of whatever we were in need of at that time, or maybe you were just, that was how you was making your money at that time, so you were caught up in a cycle. Like me, I was caught up in a cycle. So when you're going through that transformation, I sit there and I'm reading all these religious books, and I mean, I read the Bible 4 times. I'm talking about the whole Bible, not, no, the whole entire thing 4 times, really five. The fifth time I just didn't go all the way through. I kind of like pieced it down, but I studied it so much, and not only just the Bible, other religious texts, other ancient texts, so many ancient texts to see what was the commonality in all these texts, because I believe in the commonalities of all these different texts. The commonalities is the truth. Though that's the truth to me, because if it's 20 different books, but all of them are saying this one, two, three different principles, okay, that has to be the truth. So I had time to really figure out, okay, what makes sense, not from what a preacher told me, not from what anybody else told me, but from what I know from my studies, from going in. Just like the Bible, if you want to go to the Bible, it says, study to show thyself approved. A lot of people haven't studied, or they studied in one spot. You can't study in one spot and think that you know it all, because there's so many pieces to the puzzle. And when you start researching and doing your knowledge, you will see that, oh man, a lot of these texts was manipulated. So that's why essentially even the text, sometimes you can't go all the way in. You have to go within. Your spirit knows all truth. So when you hear something and it don't resonate with you, if it doesn't hit you, then you're going to know it hit you, like, hold on, now something not right about that. So we have to start listening to those voices. So I was able to learn so much about just psychology, marketing, business, credit, real estate investing, like building wealth. Like, that's where all this knowledge that I have now came from. I always really wanted more out of life. I always wanted more. I always knew I would have more out of life, but I didn't know how I was going to achieve it, because the current circumstance that I was caught in, I just didn't know. But I always believed that I could get there. I always believed I can get there. And now it's like it all makes sense, because that's where the truth was revealed once I was just reading and studying and figuring out who I truly was, and just so much stuff about life and, like I said, business and marketing. I was like, oh, my true passion. Then when I'm sitting in there and I'm seeing, man, there's so many talented brothers in here, so many talented people in here who are just smart and gifted, but their mindset is tarnished. Their mindset is keeping them in a position where it don't matter how much talent you have, how much ambition you have, how many dreams you have. If your mindset not in the right spot, it can do no good for you at all. And I saw a lot of people in that position, and I wanted to do something to change it. So when I was in there, I made a lot of plans. I wrote a lot of plans down. I didn't even know that business consulting and business funding, that you can help people get business funding and fix their credit and do. I didn't know these things were a thing. Like, yeah, I've heard of credit repair companies, but I never thought about wanting one. And I honestly don't want that now. I don't really do credit repair. I mean, we do credit repair for business owners only, but that's not the point here. The point is, like, I didn't know that what I'm doing now even was a thing, that it even existed. But after going through that transformation and writing and planning, guess what? I was putting myself in alignment with who I was supposed to be the whole time. So now these things just flew to me naturally. Now when I got out and I stayed consistent on those plans and stayed in that same frequency, I was now taking on the identity of who I truly am, which is my purpose and my calling, because it comes to me naturally. I love to do this. I love to help others. I love, because like I said, I saw so many people, and I still do now, even getting out of prison. It's just when you're in prison, you see it up close and personal, because you in a box with, like, 180, however many people in the unit, wherever you are, with so many people packed like sardines in this can. So you have no choice but to observe. And I was always an observer. I wasn't too much on the rah-rah time. I was talking to older dudes when I was locked up, to be honest, because the young dudes, they wasn't talking about nothing. They was still vibing low, running around thinking life is a game. I knew, like, I'm not doing this no more, because it's not for me. Not being around my family, not being able to provide, not only for other people that I love and care, because I used to provide when I was out there doing what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I used to really help people. So when I'm not in a position where I can't even help myself or anybody else, and be there for my son, be there for my mama, like, I lost my grandma when I was locked up. I lost my granddaddy when I was locked up. Couldn't go to nobody's funeral. Like, that stuff, like, I can't get that back. So I knew I wasn't going back. But so unfortunately, so many people get in that situation and they don't have that transformation. They go through the same cycle and the same cycle and the same cycle. So it made me even hungrier to be like, man, that's I want to do something to change that. So when I got home, that's what I did. I got into a business where I can change that. I can help people break their mental barriers, psychological barriers, spiritual barriers if they're open to it. That's why I wrote the book, Mind Over Matter, Breaking Free from Mental Confinement, that you can see right here. That's why I wrote the book, because it's truly to help other people, because I saw that, look, man, I can't sit here and complain about it and then not try to provide a solution to it. So I want to provide a solution. I want to align myself with people who are doing the same things that I'm doing. I want to align myself with the people who are already making movements towards it, because one thing that I believe, that at the end of the day, we're going to have to come together if we want to create change, because nobody's coming to save us. We're going to have to save ourselves. And once we come to that realization and everybody has knowledge, and when I say knowledge, I mean knowledge of self, number one. Because when you have knowledge of yourself and you love yourself, then you can love all. But if you don't love yourself and have knowledge of who you are as a god and who you are as a goddess, and go within, then you can never truly love or do anybody else any justice, because you don't have knowledge of self yet. So once you have knowledge of self and know who you truly are, then we get that unity. And we can all unify and stop finding all these divisions, because that was the trick. That was the programming. Divide and conquer. So stop finding so many divisions and ways where we can tear each other down, and let's start building each other up again, because there was a point in history when you study ancient times where we built each other up. So let's build each other up again. Knowledge, unity, and now we have to trust each other. We have to trust each other, because the trust has been broken on so many levels. That's why everybody's so hurt. That's why everybody is, like the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. So I wanted to be my mission. So yes, that's what Trillionaire Trey is about. It's not about money. I want to impact 1 trillion lives in a positive way. I'm going to impact 1 trillion lives in a positive way. And when I say impact, I don't mean it might not be from me touching them. I might impact somebody that going to impact somebody that impact. It's a ripple effect, because we're all connected. That's what the Tree of Life was about. That's what the Tree of Life is about, because we're all connected. The roots are connected to the stock connected to the branches connected to the trees. We all connected to the source. So once we start moving like that, then we can create change. But we're never going to get change if we're just waiting for somebody to come give it to us. And the system that we living in, they don't they don't even want us unifying. So at the end of the day, it's for their benefit of why we doing all these things, not for our own. They don't even want you truly knowing your purpose and your calling. They want you to be a robot and working for them to build their dreams. See, that's the whole trap. That's the whole trap. They want you to never know who you are, because when you know who you are and you start working on what you want to do and build your dream and build your legacy out, you can't build anybody else's. They don't want you doing that. They want you building their legacy out, not your own. So that's what Legacy Unlock is about. It's about unlocking your legacy instead of us continuously working like slaves to build somebody else's, just for us to never have any ownership in the end. So I hope this impacted somebody. I hope this gave you a little insight on who I am and what my mission is. So I don't have to keep breaking it down on every video like a lot of these other videos do, man. I'm truly trying to do something different. I like to get straight to the point, straight to the value. But I hope this story impacted you so you can know, like, okay, dang, by his story, I'm able to see maybe my passion is such and such. Maybe figure out what your passion is and start working on it, man. Find a way to monetize whatever that passion is, because it's always a way where you can monetize whatever passion that it is. You just have to think about it. You just have to go within, sit, meditate, get to yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? Start to change your diet up for real, man. They putting too much in the food. It's a lot going on. Start to cleanse yourself mentally, spiritually. I have a lot of different products that can help you with this journey. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I'll work with you one-on-one with this journey. Of course, it's not going to be free because I believe in energy exchange. I'm going to be providing value. It's going to be an energy exchange, of course. There will be value provided. I don't mind helping. That's what I'm here for, man. But truly want everybody to reach their highest selves. If you need help on that process, I have, like I said, many different things. UnlockingYourLegacy.com. Once again, Trillionaire Trey, man. I hope this video impacted you. If it did, like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a lot of great, valuable information on this channel. And I don't want it to just even be me on this channel. I'm going to have my brothers coming on. I'm going to have some positive women that I know coming on here. Like, I'm going to have a lot of people coming on this channel to just give a lot of insight. And it's not going to be an overnight process. But for those who are here to watch the journey and watch the growth and just be inspired by the growth and just see like, man, I'm starting out in the trenches, man. I'm working my way up. It's not going to be perfect right now. Y'all see the setup, but it will get better. It will get perfected. But I couldn't let perfection stop me. And don't you let perfection stop you, man. Find your purpose, work on your purpose, work on your craft, and move with love. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I ain't gonna ramble on too much longer. That's why I had my framework, because I know I'll go on and on, man. But hey, love, peace, blessings. To the next one.